I'm super excited about today's topic. I hope you guys are too. I think Reels are really exciting and easier to do than you'd think. So I really want to kind of break that down in today's session. And before we get started, I'd just love to ask you guys, by your assessment, does your social media marketing currently generate leads for your law firm? And if you could just let me know which channels you're focused on right now, that would be really helpful for this session. And you can rate like on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, no, it generates no leads for my law firm, and 10, no, it's a great lead generator, if that's easier for you to say. Okay, let me fix that for you. There you go, Cara. That should be have solved that problem. Is there a poll? Jean, there's an informal poll in the chat. So it's you can say scale between 1 through 10, how social media performs for you in terms of generating leads for your law firm, and then which channels you are focused on right now. Great, so Alexis is sharing YouTube. David says 1. Alexis says Facebook is the only one that generates organically. Randy is asking, do you recommend we also post on YouTube and TikTok, or should we just get started on IG? Super great questions, Randy. I'm actually going to answer this a little bit towards the end, and there's a bit of a nuance, and I'll kind of help you evaluate which channels you should be on and why, and what you can repurpose for different channels. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I'm going to keep looking at this as we run through this presentation. Do note it's being recorded, so you don't have to take notes. You will get the replay later this afternoon or evening, and you can also share the recording with your team if you think it would be helpful for them. So Cara, maybe you could just start by sharing a little bit about what you're seeing in the landscape of Reels with all the attorneys that you're talking with.
Yeah, Lauren. So, I see many familiar names on this session. I know many of you are attending the Wednesday interviews with the successful attorney marketers that we're doing. And you're hearing over and over and over again how Reels really on Instagram are what they're primarily focusing on. It's the vast majority of the posts that they're now contributing. I think that kind of seeing those examples and hearing those stories are helpful. Lauren and I thought that this session would be a nice kind of segue into, okay, then how exactly do we do this on our own, or how can we get help doing this, right? So that we can actually turn, these videos and these Reels into paying clients. Recently, a session with Ali Awad, he was saying, and he has, nearly 2 million Instagram followers, right? He's a CEO lawyer on Instagram, but, he says, in the end, the only thing that matters when creating social media content in general is to get clients and to make money ultimately, right? And that is why you do it. I mean, if you're investing your time creating videos, writing captions, working on kind of creating exciting, engaging content, and you're not getting any clients from it eventually, that's a problem. Now, Ali's certainly not saying, that the first video you post will go viral and you'll get tons of cases from it. But, at some point, getting clients needs to kind of be that litmus test, right? If you're getting just random comments, people saying that's great, or your friends, commenting on your posts, and it's not going, past that, something probably needs to change. Ali says, something like if in 6 months or so, you haven't gotten a single client from, your social media, your social media efforts overall, then, it's time to reassess it and try something new. So that's why Lauren and I really want to arm you with, Reels. We feel like there's such opportunity there. And that's why I'm so excited about this session. So I'll kind of hand it over to Lauren.
Thank you. That's a great big picture overview for us. And we're going to talk about which piece of the puzzle Reels fits into, because I think sometimes the challenge is thinking Reels alone or Instagram alone is going to generate clients for you. And I know, for example, Ali shared in some of his sessions, Instagram actually isn't his biggest source of clients, which is fascinating because he has such a large following there. Also, sometimes social media is the place not where people first hear about you, but where they go to learn more and kind of silently stalk you until they're ready to take the next step. Or they're following you, but they end up referring you business. So there's lots of different ways social media can translate into clients, but I do want you to think about as we're here, is social media my only lead generator, and how does it fit with all the other marketing puzzle pieces that I have in place? So with that being said, if you are new to these marketing mentor sessions, our goal here is really to make your law firm growth simpler by making online marketing simpler. There are a lot of channels. There are a lot of different features on each channel. If we looked at Instagram alone, Reels isn't the only feature there. You have stories, highlights, link in bio, guides, regular posts, IGTV, which is now going away, live video. There's a lot of features just on one platform, let alone all the different platforms that are available. So we're really trying to help you demystify online marketing and understand where you need to be, why you need to be there, and how to be there in order to make it most effective. So anytime I am looking at marketing, I'm looking at it in this kind of three-pronged filter. Are we generating leads? Are we qualifying leads? Or are we nurturing leads? And in this instance, when we're talking about Reels and using them to get in front of new audiences, I'm really primarily looking at lead generation, but also a little bit of lead nurturing, which we'll talk about in a bit. So that's really the purpose of today's session, is how can we use Reels to get in front of new prospects and generate leads from that effort? Okay, and just as a quick reminder, marketing is a numbers game. We need a certain number of qualified eyeballs to get a certain number of qualified leads to get a certain number of clients. So when we're thinking about Instagram, we really want to think about how many qualified eyeballs are we getting on our Instagram content in order to generate leads. If we're only getting 50 qualified eyeballs on our account a month and our content a month, well, then we can't expect 50 qualified leads from that effort. We'd be lucky to get one qualified lead from that effort. So do remember, if you feel like, hey, I'm not getting enough leads or any leads, or I feel like I'm closer to a 1 on that scale, you may not have enough qualified eyeballs coming to your account to begin with. So we're really going to look at Reels as a place for how do we get more qualified eyeballs on our account, and how do we leverage this opportunity that we have right now to use Reels to get in front of more people. And Mark's asking, how do I understand at least somewhat how big my market is? So how many potential clients are there with tax controversies or business litigation of the type that you're interested in representing? So you want to know how large is your market, and therefore what percentage of market share do you have, I assume, at some point. Cara, do you have an easy answer for that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one. I mean, there's no simple way of really, okay. Yeah, right. As Lauren said, yeah. I mean, that's a bit complicated. I think we could probably talk, Mark, separately about kind of what the overarching goal is, especially if you're talking maybe more about advertising. But yeah, it's a little bit convoluted. I'm not really sure how to.
Yeah, it also depends on
a little bit more.
It also depends on your various, is your niche super specific? Like, is there only a very specific type of case that you're interested in representing, or is it all business litigation and all tax controversies? So yeah.
Yeah, we're happy to talk about that after, Mark. We'll reach out.
Great. Okay, so the question really is, why Reels and why now? So I want to paint a picture for you on kind of what's happening in the social media marketing landscape, so you can understand why it's important to take advantage of this opportunity now while it still exists. So in essence, TikTok, and pardon me, I'm just moving the chat icons. TikTok is taking away market share from Meta. So Meta is the rebranded name of Facebook and Instagram. TikTok has been a very popular platform, not just for what we would call Gen Z, but also older audiences. So it's no longer just a platform for youngsters, and this short form video capturing people's attention really quickly. This, if you've been on TikTok, it's just you're swiping up, like you're moving through content really fast. People like. So Meta's answer to this is to add features similar to TikTok, like Reels. Reels are a short form video. They are even paying creators to make Reels. So creator being people on their platform, Facebook and Instagram are paying people to create these Reels. So contrary to what's been happening in the past, where creators pay Facebook to get their content in front of people, Facebook is paying creators to stay on the platform, create content for the platform. And they are serving Reels to new audiences, very much like TikTok's For You page, FYP. So if you think about how Instagram and Facebook have evolved, historically, they've been showing your content to existing followers. So the name of the game has always been, how do I get more followers so my followers see my content? Reels work differently. You create a reel, your existing followers will see it, but also Instagram and Facebook are going to show your reels to new audiences. So that's really why the opportunity is now to jump on Reels. There is a benefit to being a quote unquote early adopter. Reels have been around for a little bit, so I wouldn't necessarily say that jumping on the bandwagon now makes you an early adopter, but in your industry it will, because there's not many people doing it. So we don't know necessarily how long this opportunity is going to last, but I will tell you that this trend has been happening for a while where Instagram and Facebook are doubling down on video. So just, I think it was last Tuesday or Thursday, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, basically said, hey, we are tripling down on Reels. We are changing all live video content on Instagram to Reels. Even your historical videos, they are converting to Reels as long as they're under 15 minutes. It's too confusing for us to have IGTV, IG Live, video posts, and Reels. Everything's gonna be Reels. It's all gonna be in one feed, and we're not gonna have all these other video features. So even though people like, and this happened on Tuesday, basically the Kardashian clan, who owns between 1% to 7% collectively of all of Instagram's viewers, even though they say, hey, stop making Instagram like TikTok, Adam Mosseri keeps coming out and saying, this is the direction we're moving. So I think it's really important to keep an eye on these company announcements and trends, because if you can be the first to jump on a feature, you can be the first to, in your industry, to start adopting these features. One, there's less competition, and two, the platform will prioritize your content over other people's content. So that is why I say now is a really great time for you to start creating Reels. Not to mention, in general, social media is moving from images to video. And if you're able to create short form video where you can convey information concisely and capture attention quickly, it's a really great skill set to have in your marketing. If you think about the world we live in today, it's very much about instant gratification. Hey, I order something on Amazon and it arrives within 24 hours. Hey, I expect to get an answer on live chat within 30 seconds if I'm on someone's website. We don't wait for much. So short form video is really just an add-on to that trend. And there is a place for long form video, but it's further down in the funnel, meaning once someone's already learned about you and know about you, and then you're delivering more educational long form content. But Reels are really serving as that brand awareness. How do I get in front of new people? How do I capture their attention enough so that they want to follow me and stick around? And that's really the game we're playing when it comes to Reels. So Meta wants people to stay on Instagram and Facebook. They don't want people to leave and go to TikTok. So this is why Reels exist. And they'll reward you by serving your content to new audiences. So how many of you guys have created a Reel to date? A Reel, whether it's on your personal profile or your law firm profile. I'd just love to hear, has anyone posted anything? Angela. Okay. Everyone who's posted, have you been surprised by the amount of views you've gotten compared to your normal engagement? You can just say a quick yes or no. Yeah, exactly. So you're not having to do a whole lot. You're just having to post it, but you're not having to do a ton of promotion. Yeah, 3,000 views is a lot of, I don't know what your follower count is, but I'm going to assume that's more than your follower count. You don't even know what a Reel is. Okay, great. I'm going to show you guys some example Reels a little later on. So Later is a social media scheduling platform. They have a ton of accounts on their platform. And I just want you to see the data that they've collected since 2019, basically the average feed post engagement rate. So think carousel, just a normal photo and or a video. The engagement has significantly decreased since Reels were introduced. Same thing here. You can see this trend over here. So as Reels have been introduced to the platform, people are paying more attention to this short form video content than they are to your images, to your carousels, than anything else that's being posted. Jean, I'm going to show you how to see the total views in a second. But if we're paying attention to these trends, to some degree, we got to play the game that the social media platforms want us to play. So if they are rewarding Reels and not feed and other types of posts, then let's give them Reels so that they keep serving our content, not just to our existing followers, but to new people. And I think this is even more fascinating. If you look at later, and they're just talking about their own account. This isn't all the accounts on their platform, but this was when they were just posting normal videos, carousels and images to their account. Their average engagement rate was 1%, around 1%. When they started adding Reels, their engagement rate has come up to 10%. So engagement rate means basically out of all the followers you have, how many people percentage-wise are engaging on each post, meaning saving, liking, commenting, hitting play if it's a video. So that alone just tells you, wow, people really like this short form video content and they're willing to engage with it a lot more than they are a picture, a carousel, or a normal video, which no longer exists. Now, that's not to say there's not a place for that, but it just means that we should post more Reels and less of those old types of posts that we used to post. So if I'm posting 5 times a week, I might encourage you to post 2 to 4 Reels, and then the rest are going to be either a story or a normal image. Cara, do you have, I think I see you wanting to say something, so I want to make sure I give you the space too.
Oh, I just wanted to kind of double down, reinforce the importance of, because so often attorneys say to me, well, I have 10 followers on Instagram and, I'm posting and only 10 people are going to see my content, right? And that's why Reels are so powerful at this point, is because Instagram, to everything Lauren's been saying, I just want to kind of, reinforce how critical that is. Instagram is serving that content, the Reels, the video Reels, up to a broader audience than just those followers. And that's how you begin to build that. So I wanted to make that clear, because I hear that all the time. Well, what's the point? And, in the past, that was actually pretty valid, right? I mean, it was really hard to kind of get past that. So I just wanted to double down on that.
Yeah, and so Randy's also asking, what is a carousel? That is the type of post where it's not just one image, but you see a slideshow and you're swiping, and it's, I think, a maximum of 10 images. And so sometimes you'll see it like lately a trend is called a photo dump. So people are just like photo dumping 10 images of their vacation. But sometimes it's also very educational, and it'll walk you through 10 aspects of a problem in a more digestible format visually, because it's not all crammed onto one image. And I can pull up an example of that a little later on. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, like, what the heck are Reels? Let me kind of give you a brief definition. So it's essentially short form video that's entertaining, educational, or inspirational. It used to be a maximum of 60 seconds, but Instagram is now converting all videos up to 15 minutes to Reels. So while you can't upload 15 minutes as a Reel, they're converting old videos to Reels. So keep in mind, 60 seconds is not a long amount of time, and you may even have 90 seconds now. I would have to confirm based on this latest update, but it's not a lot of time to capture attention. It's not a lot of time to convey information. So I'm going to show you some examples of what Reels look like, so you get a feel for, okay, this is a Reel versus a different kind of video. But if anyone's watching TikTok is basically what Instagram is trying to recreate with their Reels. It's usually set to some form of audio, music, someone speaking, instrumental, but something that gives it more than just a video or just kind of a static visual. And you have to capture attention quickly. When people are watching 60-second videos, they make a decision really quick within a couple seconds whether they're going to keep swiping up or whether they're going to keep watching. Thank you, Cara. Appreciate that. So if you've been seeing some of these reels and you're thinking, gosh, people are dancing and pointing at different words, or they're jumping on the latest audio visual trend, I don't think that's what we can do as a law firm, or nor is that what I want to do, jump around on camera and dance to get people's attention, which really is just a ripple effect of what was working on TikTok early on when TikTok came out. But Instagram has come out and said, we are going to be prioritizing original content. So yes, you can jump on trends, but I really see that as a short-term growth hack. But I think the long-term play is to create your own original content. And honestly, I think that takes a lot of pressure off you as a law firm. You don't have to be fitting into a box that you don't feel like your law firm fits into. There's a lot of opportunity for you to create reels that are original content and will stand out because you have all this education, all this experience, all this background that most users on the platform just don't have. So, Randy, I will come back to that in a second. So when we're thinking about how do we create reels, do I need to be like following all the trends? And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but lately it's been the Little Miss and Little Mr. Cara, are you able to pop one of those in there? I don't think that's the game you have to play as a law firm who's looking at how can I use reels to get in front of new audiences and be around for the long term on social media. I don't think you have to. I think you can if you have the team who can produce on that quickly, but I don't think that's the game you have to play. So let's talk about some easy ways to create reels. First of all, I think you can answer one frequently asked question per reel. It could be you talking towards the camera, or it could be one of your team members talking. It doesn't have to be just you. It doesn't have to be just your face on the account. So I think if you sat down and wrote down 20 questions that you get asked frequently, you could spend an hour, 2 hours recording that and then chopping it up into multiple 60-second reels. Willem, that's a great question. I'm actually going to get to that on the next slide. So I will share that in a second. 2, I think you could showcase a client testimonial. Now, you could have the client speaking, but you could also literally just have their quote on a stock video background and add audio. I'll show you an example of that, but you don't have to have someone's face on camera in order to create video. Barry, I will have to address that in a second. Yeah. Okay. An easy reel number 3 is to introduce one team member per reel and explain their role. So let's say Cara wanted to create a reel that talked about her role as president, and I created a reel for James Publishing that talked about my role as marketing mentor, and Mike created a reel that talked about his role as operations guy extraordinaire. I'm not sure Mike's official title, but there's opportunity to create content that doesn't just come from you and also isn't necessarily just about what you can help people with, but also about who your team is and allowing you to kind of spread the love and not be the only unicorn on the in the law firm who helps someone. I also think it's a really great way to introduce prospects to other people on your team. And not have so much pressure on you to always be the one creating content. You could share a client story and outcome. You could share multiple client stories and outcomes. I would do this in one reel per client story. Again, I think this is really easy to speak to, and you can do it in 60 seconds. You don't have to share all the nuance. You don't have to share their name, but you can just talk about some of the details of the case and things that you think might be interesting to a prospect or speak to some of the pain points that they're struggling with. Another easy reel, share a common pitfall and how to avoid it, one per reel. Again, remember you only have 60 seconds. So you're not trying to pack in, the entire encyclopedia. You're trying to speak to one issue and give a really quick tip. 6, if any of you follow Gary Vaynerchuk or have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, who's popular in the marketing world, his saying is, Don't create content, document. This can often be a much easier way to create content because you're just documenting what's already happening. So maybe you have set up your phone on a tripod and you have a little time lapse happening of a meeting that your team has. And then that's the video background for some other written tip that's going to be laid over top of that video. You could do some behind the scenes at the office. Maybe you're celebrating someone's birthday and you're just recording a quick video showing the celebration. Sometimes even a personal hobby is a really great vlog style reel. It makes you stand out as a human and can be really eye-catching. So perhaps you help with bike accidents and you also happen to be a biker in your free time. Well, great. I'd love to see some of the bike rides that you're doing and learn a little bit more about who you are as a person so that I then trust you more as my attorney. It's this weird psychological thing that happens where people, if they feel like they know you in your personal life, this trust is automatically built, even if that content isn't necessarily about your legal work. Now, a word of caution, I wouldn't make all your reels about your personal hobbies, but I would use that to capture attention and to help build some trust. But I would say like 1 in 5 reels is the route I would go for that. Memes or memes, depending on how you say it, these do really well. They tend to go viral. Using humor to make light of certain aspects of your job or industry can be a really fun way to capture attention. And I'll show you some examples specifically within the legal industry on how you can do that. And then hot or newsworthy topics. Think like the Johnny Depp trial. Capitalizing on stuff that's happening that's specific to your industry that people are already paying attention to, and then adding your unique spin on it is a really great reel for you to consider. Joseph, yeah, there are people who've gotten famous for making coffee and talking about their day. Yeah. Some of the really mundane stuff people love seeing on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok for that matter. So don't feel like you have to be the most interesting man in the world or woman in the world in order to find interesting real content. It's 60 seconds. Like we're not talking about, you know, a 20-minute video. There's this great app on your phone and I'll have to look at what it's called, but you can pull 1 second of each day and then you could compile it into a reel for the month. This could be like your July reel, for example. There's lots of really great ways to pull together video content. And because we all have these phones in our pocket, smartphones in our pocket, we don't need professional cameras to create Reels content. Now, the one thing to note about Reels is it is vertical, so portrait, it's not horizontal. So when you are capturing video, you want to make sure that you're fitting that format so extra editing doesn't have to happen. So Willem, to your question, your smartphone's video quality is more than high resolution enough. And there's a lot of apps you can use on your phone to edit rather than Vimeo. InShot's a really easy one to use. CapCut's also easy to use. You can even use the native editing feature in Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, which we'll talk about in a second. But I wouldn't personally invest in a really fancy video editing software for this. You know, I don't think you need to if you're going the DIY route. That's not the kind of culture and feel of Reels. And I'll show you some examples in a second, but it's not highly produced. It's not this beautiful advertisement that would be on TV. In fact, you want it to feel more native, like you've created it, like it's not high production value. It's likely to get more visibility and shares. Yeah, InShot works great. Let's see, I use InShot and I think it's fabulous. I know Ali's team uses CapCut. Car, I don't know what you guys use in the office, but there's really a lot of great options out there that don't require a ton of investment. So another option is to outsource it to James Amplifier. I will let Cara speak to this, but if you feel like, gosh, there's just no way we can take on video creation on top of all the legal cases we're handling, on top of all the stuff my team management requires, James does have an option for you that allows you to show your face on camera and get a ton of video content for not that much time. So Cara, I'll let you speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. So I have some great examples to show too. So let me know when we get to that, Lauren, because I think a lot of the attorneys that I've been speaking with, that newsjacking, you know, that Lauren mentioned is a huge source of just engaging content really for the attorneys that I've been speaking with. So, you know, certainly, you know, I think Lauren included the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, right? But we talked about, you know, the Supreme Court limits the ability to enforce Miranda rights, the new Arizona law banning filming police from less than 6 feet away. So there's a lot that you can talk about and just kind of, you know, just talk about how either, you know, how you would handle the case, you know, a lot of like what if scenarios. But the other super popular reel is kind of attorney reacts videos. These are really going all out, and I'll show some examples, but you know, a car crash, for instance, you find a car crash video, specifically the dash cam video view, because it's you know, exciting, and then you know, you come on and add a couple comments. So we'll get to those samples just briefly, but I just wanted to mention that. So yeah, of course, you know, we can certainly help you create reels and regular social media content. We're putting a ton of resources and time into further developing the social media specific pieces, the vertical reels specifically as part of the Marketing Amplifier program. So, you know, if you just can't find the time, you're not sure exactly what to talk about, you need, you know, some support and assistance for us to handle everything, the editing, the scripts, the topics, the talking points, let me know. I'll throw my link in the chat, but essentially we schedule one single 30-minute monthly shoot with you over Zoom. So actually very similar to what Lauren and I are doing now. You would jump on a Zoom shoot with one of our video directors, and we really handle everything else. We collect all the footage we need during that short 30-minute shoot to then deliver you 4 custom videos every single month. We're doing all of the social media posting for you and really helping you grow. So I'll keep it at that, but I'll drop my my scheduler link directly in the chat if you're interested in learning more, and I'd love to chat.
Awesome. So I just want to make sure I address a couple questions that we have happening. So Randy's asking for a list of free editing apps. I know InShot and CapCut have a free version, but you'll get their watermark on there. But I believe it's like $12 a year or something. It's not super expensive. Roxanne is asking, can you turn a video into a reel? So I'd love for you to clarify for me exactly what you're asking. Basically, a reel is a video. It's just 60 seconds. And it's the type of post that you're choosing to use when you post on Instagram. And I will also talk about the difference between reels on Instagram and Facebook in a second, but I do want to just take a moment to share a couple examples with you guys before I get into a few more tips. So Barry was saying that he was having trouble seeing this link, so I just want to address what a carousel is. So here's an example, the one Cara put in the chat, and I want to make sure, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so a carousel means you have more than one image, and essentially what's a slideshow format here. Okay, so give me a second. Let me click through to all of these. So we mentioned Ali, and I just wanted to give you guys answer the question. When you are wondering how many views do my reels have, if you go to your profile and you go to reels, you can see all the views that both you have and someone else has. So that's an easy way to see, okay, which of my videos have gotten the most views. You can see there's a big difference between this one, which has 1,800 views, and this one, which has 85,000 views. And if you hover over, you can also see the like count and the comment count.
Lauren, maybe I don't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel. When you see what is performing for other people, there's a decent chance that if you use that as inspiration, don't copy it exactly, but follow a similar format or similar idea, that it will likely perform well for you. Now, if you don't have the same follower count as Ali, then I wouldn't expect the same amount of views, but sometimes you hit something viral and you get way more views than you ever thought was possible. So you want me to play one. I'm going to try and play it. I don't know if it's going to come through on my headphones, so that's my concern, but let's see. Can you just?
Yeah, it's not coming. I was thinking he has some good car crash videos on there. I was going to show those.
Resignation.
Yeah, we can hear now.
This one right here?
Yeah, try that one. Yeah.
If you pay close attention, the Camaro was actually following too closely behind that first white car. And then when there was a vehicle in that lane with their hazards on, the Camaro did not have enough time to stop and switch lanes. As a result, they hit the vehicle with the dash cam, which caused that person to crash into the bushes. The Camaro is 100% liable for the accident. I'll rate this car crash a 3 out of 10, but the reaction of the other driver, 10 out of 10 for sure.
So just one thing to note is you heard some background noise on top of what Ollie was saying, which is this music that he's chosen to use because it's getting a lot of views. So that's what you're hearing in the background underneath his voice. Sorry, Cara, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Thanks for playing that, Lauren. So we recently started filming these Attorney React videos for our clients. Ollie is almost exclusively posting these on his TikTok now because that's what is really getting the most, the most followers for him. Obviously also doing it on Instagram as well. So these Attorney Reacts, they're super, super popular, and they're really pretty easy to produce. And we can help you do that too.
Now, when you're thinking about that, the one thing I would say is those aren't the only types of reels you want to be producing. That's great, top of funnel, great brand awareness, great for capturing attention. But again, we want to move people into followers and leads and book calls. So I'm going to speak about that in a second. But before I do that, I do want to show you a couple other examples. So not this one, I have a few. Hold on. Okay, so this is like an example of one of those funny meme style type videos where there's actually really no noise. Also because I have the volume turned down, but it's just a back and forth, someone typing and in different outfits, and then they're playing out a scenario. It's not high production value. You can see this was filmed on someone's phone. There's stuff in the background, but it's getting, I don't know if you can see this, 40,000 views. So there's a lot of opportunity here. This is another meme style that's from, sorry, Cara,
Bob Simon, yeah.
Thank you. I see you can't have Bob.
Yeah.
Bob. Again, he's pulling someone else's video content and then laying over some text. Now, there is some question about copyright here. Memes you technically don't own, so I would know that. You guys are the lawyers, not me, but it's not your own original content that you've created. So there are some considerations there, which I know Randy asked about. Randy, I know you also have another question, so I'll get to that specific copyright question in a second. This is a great example of a FAQ, which is, let me see if I can play it again from the beginning for you guys. If I ask for a lawyer, doesn't that make me look guilty? And do you see how quick this is? And he is overlaying what he's saying in captions on top. So you can see, even though I'm not playing the volume, you understand what he's saying. That is something I highly recommend doing. Not everyone has the volume on when they're looking at reels. Think about maybe you're in the metro, maybe you're with other people, you're just kind of scrolling through, you don't have the volume on. So this can be done natively through the Instagram app. You can just turn on the closed captioning feature, or you can also edit this in beforehand, which I know James Amplifier will do for you.
That's a really great example. I'm glad you showed that one, Lauren. Attorney Fish, Nariman Fishnamaz, that's the attorney that you're looking at now. His whole profile, I would highly recommend following him at Attorney Fish, I think is his handle. Yeah, if you just scroll through a little bit, like you can see short, descriptive, eye-catching captions, as Lauren mentioned. Many people aren't turning on the sound. The topics are interesting sort of to the average person, right? Because they affect their daily lives. They're not, so over the top. There's not a lot of legalese at all in his posts. They're very, concise, very direct, no fluff. And they kind of dive directly into the topic. There's no introduction or, hi, I'm attorney, Nariman Fishnamaz. Like he just goes into it. And what's really interesting is, like many of the attorneys that I speak to on my Wednesday Growth Cara show, he isn't limiting the topics to personal injury, which is Nariman's practice area. And we hear that from time and time again, that, the criminal defense or DUI videos, they have broader appeal, right? They're videos that are there to add followers. And then the specialty specific videos, the injury, in this case, the injury specific videos, the idea there is to kind of move them along, turn some of those followers into leads. It's kind of that two-step approach. And I interviewed Nariman a couple months ago. He had about 38,000 followers at the time. I think he's over 108,000. I mean, on Instagram, that is super impressive growth. And he's doing it all without singing and dancing. And, he's staying very much true to himself. And even I think he has very few, even personal posts, which is, that's just his style. But you can see that, he's really kind of sticking to the script. And the idea is you kind of want to be the sole legal source for your followers. And because I know it's hard to persuade a lot of the attorneys that I talk to. It's hard to kind of convince them to shoot videos outside, their legal specialty. And I get it, but the idea is, you really kind of want to be this legal source, the one lawyer that they think of for any legal issue, right? They're not necessarily putting attorneys into silos, into boxes, right? So you're their resource when they have an issue or one of their friends have a legal issue. No matter what it is, they come to you. And, if they come to you with an issue outside of your area of practice, your specialties, you can certainly refer them to, another attorney that you trust. And that kind of thing really builds, goodwill, really builds rapport. And again, you're just kind of that legal resource for them. And that's when I think, you really are kind of unlocking this key to branding your firm and branding yourself as an attorney, really. And that's what we're hearing, every week over week over week, these super successful attorney marketers that are taking this approach, really mimicking this approach that Attorney Pishdamaz is taking here. And even beginners can shoot these kinds of videos, right? I mean, you can have a script. I remember, Nariman said that the night before a shoot, he takes, 3 or 4 hours. He writes out 15, 20 scripts. And then on filming day, he, goes through those. He has a couple different suits that he, changes out. And then he has a ton of content. They shoot 2 or 3 times a month, maybe. And then they have content for almost every single day. So this is a really good kind of inspirational account. And someone asked in the chat, Ken, is Googling Reels, a good way to see examples? I think the best way of seeing examples is getting on Instagram and following attorneys like this. You can actually go to my @Grow with Cara page, see who I'm following. Those are all really great examples. Start following, those guys and those ladies, and you'll get some really good inspiration. So that's how we get our ideas for, the new types of social videos that we should be shooting for our attorney subscribers is, what's working. Let's do more of that.
Yeah, and I just want to share a couple other things. There's super cheap ways to produce videos. You can set your phone up on something like this. You don't have to have a whole video team in-house. I don't know who's filming Nariman's, but you don't have to have your whole team dedicated to batching videos, or you can work with James Amplifier, but this doesn't have to be expensive. I think this was $12 on Amazon, and to answer David's question, which I think is important, what about those of us that don't feel like our brand is marketable with consumers, and the attorneys who do well with this are high energy and not afraid to put themselves out there? I have a couple suggestions. One, I don't think your content has to be all you, and I'll show you some examples of that in a second. 2, turning up your energy for 60 seconds is a lot easier than talking on YouTube for 20 minutes. So I would say to some degree, practice helps. And you don't have to be a carbon copy of Nariman or Alia Wad. You can be you, and that'll attract the right people. If you are knowledgeable and credible and authoritative, that will still attract people because
You might be frozen, Lauren, unless it's on my end. Frozen. Okay. So to Lauren's point, I'm sure she'll be right back, but it really is about finding your own voice, kind of picking up on where she left off. She's exactly right? It's not going to be, am I frozen as well? Hopefully not. Hopefully you can hear what I'm saying. But it's not about trying to be someone that you're not, trying to sing and dance, trying to be humorous, right? If there's varying levels of entertainment value, and I think that's actually a common misconception. The attorneys who are comfortable doing that, that's great, and that's them, right? But it really is about finding your own voice and embracing that 100%. Like all of these attorneys that I'm talking to on Wednesdays, I know I keep going back to that, but it's so true that they all say that they fumbled at the beginning, maybe for the first couple dozen or more videos. It didn't, right out of the gate, they weren't, perfectly polished or perfectly, entertaining or, even insightful or valuable. So can we see some of the clips produced using James Amplifier? Yes, absolutely. And I'll share those. I can definitely share those as well. I know Lauren will be coming back, so I don't want to kind of interrupt her flow, but yes, thank you for asking, Joe. We'll definitely share those. And I did want to mention too, a very common process, a very common approach to social media and to kind of growing using Reels as the base is, using really kind of performing multiple experiments at once, right? So, see what goes viral or just see what's most popular and then do more of that, right? It certainly takes some experimenting. It certainly takes, some trial and error. And like I said, and Ali and Bob Simon and Justin Lovely and all these folks, Tina Ojagian, all of these attorneys who are, have tens of thousands of followers now and are really kind of pulling in leads on a regular basis from their social media. That's not how it started, right? And we can certainly help you, coach you through it, but also just like Lauren said, practice, practice, practice. So Lauren, I'll let you get back to it. There was a request to see some James Amplifier videos, so I'll do that either at the end or we can send a link after.
I think we can move to that right now. I just want to give you one third tip, and sorry I dropped out there, but my business buddies who have done a lot of speaking on stages and really didn't feel comfortable with it, they ended up doing some improv classes, which helped them a lot, get a little more comfortable with being on camera, being in awkward situations. And I think compared to speaking on stage, a camera where there's editing and it's not live is a lot less daunting, especially for 60 seconds. And if you're speaking about something I guarantee you look a lot more confident than you might feel. Okay, Cara, do you have screen share capabilities or do you need me to?
Yep, I think I do. I'm just bringing these videos up here. I'll just play short clips of some of these and then certainly we'll share links. I'm trying to get this bigger. Sorry.
The passenger took the.
Okay, one moment. Let me share my screen. Okay. Oh, I think you need to.
Let me make you host.
Yeah, thanks. And keep in mind too, we had a couple questions about kind of, what are the choices as a Marketing Amplifier subscriber? You really, we really tailor the program to your needs. So, we say 4 videos a month, but, maybe you kind of, take a hybrid approach. You want, some shorter reels, you want, some longer, more substantive FAQ type videos for your website, so we really handle all of that. But let me just show you some quick samples real quick.
The vehicle and started driving while hallucinating that zombies were chasing him. He started driving the truck into cars, attempting to kill zombies. I'm Mark Lazarus. I'm with Russell and Lazarus. We help people who've been injured in automobile and trucking accidents. Our clients were traveling on the freeway.
Okay, that's one example. Let me show you show you this one. The past, what we kind of call past case video has been very popular, meaning, describing past cases with slightly varying fact patterns so that your prospective clients can see you discussing, a situation that may be very similar to the one that you're experiencing.
Imagine walking into a store unassisted just to get a few items, but you don't leave that store without your life being changed. Because immediately when you enter, you fall on a negligently maintained premises, breaking your hip, and you have to leave in a gurney. That's what happened to this client. I once represented an elderly lady who had slipped and fell and seriously injured herself on the premises of a very large, well-known retail.
Okay, so that just kind of gives you a quick example of some, I'll definitely pull just more examples, especially social media specific examples, and we'll send those around after this.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I can stop sharing. Okay.
Do you mind making me host, and then I will keep sharing? Okay, so Randy, I'm going to get back to your question in a second. I just want to share a few more tips with you that I think will be helpful as you think about Reels. So the first is, don't take it so seriously. Reels are meant to be fun. So I'll show you a couple examples of fun Reels. And I think especially this is a great way to look outside the legal industry for some fun ideas. There are so many Reels examples, and yes, it's good to look at what's working in the industry, but also I bet you'll find some ideas in other industries that you can apply with a legal spin on it that will also perform equally as well. And again, reverse engineering what others are doing. Look at their view counts. It's not a secret what takes off. Now my advice is different than Kara's, so we can maybe debate this. Virality doesn't always equal high quality prospects. So if you're playing that same game that Nariman's playing, which is let me speak about non-practice specialty topics because I'm trying to garner attention, then my next piece of advice would be, and make sure that you're also coupling that with practice specific content so that you're moving those viewers into followers, leads, and book calls.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like that two-step. Yeah, for sure.
And I'll show you a couple examples of when that doesn't go so well. So again, don't overproduce. So Willem, you were asking about Vimeo. I don't think you need to use that. It's not about production value. It's about being consistent, being frequent, and staying top of mind. And then there's also this new feature in Instagram called Instagram Reels templates. If you Google this, you'll find a tutorial, but it basically has the music already. It tells you how long each clip should be, and you literally just click and upload the clip. So it's a really easy way to produce something that looks creative and hits on the music if you want to go that route, without having to be a professional video editor. I would consider Reels for 50 to 75% of your posts on Instagram. Then on top of that, I would leverage other features like your bio, your Instagram highlights, your stories to turn those views into followers, DMs, leads, and book calls. And actually, I'll go back to Nariman's account in a second because I think he does a really good job of this. And then remember, I would reach out to viewers, respond to commenters, and direct messages. Social media is meant to be social. It's not meant for you to just post a video and leave the account and never talk to anyone who's engaging on your account. So don't leave commenters hanging. Don't leave direct messengers hanging. Give them a response. You can even set up an auto reply, which is a really great way for someone to get a response from you, but then know they might get something more personal later. Okay. Then really quick to wrap up, and maybe you guys can just take a quick screenshot, but you want your Reels to have a call to action, meaning it's really not just about the view, but what someone does next. And sometimes the calls to action are very low friction and a micro commitment, like follow and like for more, or comment if you agree. But these are some easy calls to action you can use in your Reels to keep engagement up and turn those viewers into followers, DMs, people who are clicking on the link in your bio, who are commenting. The more engagement you get, the more Instagram and Facebook will serve your content to other people. And yes, you can. It looks like Instagram is auto-fed from Facebook. I would say it's the other way around, William. You can put what you post on Instagram and auto-post it to Facebook. I would argue it's better if you natively post and just take that same content, but you don't have to. So especially for stories and reels, it could just auto-post to Facebook for you. Okay, and then a last quick note before I get to everyone's questions, repurposing reels. So I think you can use reels for Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, or if you're creating for TikTok first, the other way around, use your TikToks for Facebook and Instagram. You can do some initial editing using a mobile app like InShot or CapCut, but then I would add the music and layer on the text and filters natively in the app where you're posting if you can. You'll get rewarded for videos that feel native to the platform. So what I absolutely wouldn't do is create a video for TikTok, download it, and then post it on Instagram where the watermark is. Instagram, remember, doesn't want people to be on TikTok first, so they won't serve that content as far. So that's my quick note about repurposing, but short form video that's captivating and informational or educational and inspirational is going to perform well on multiple platforms. So it's like a foundational marketing concept. If it's something that people like on one platform, it is likely to perform well on another platform. Does that mean it's always that way? No, but it can be that way. Okay, so let me get to some Q&A, and then let me also share a couple more examples for you guys because I find it helpful and I hope you do too. So before I was telling you about how you could just overlay a testimonial on top of a stock video, and obviously this isn't probably the branding that most of you guys would use. This is target audience is geared towards females, but you could see how it's a video with music right here. I don't have the volume on, and then just the text coming over on top of it. It's not you on camera and can still be really interesting. So let me go back to Nariman. You said it's attorney pitch, right? Okay, so you can see here, Nariman is using his bio really smartly. He is saying exactly what he does. So even if I've seen, what was that content we were looking at earlier that was generic? Oh, is it a crime to have an open container? Okay, so I've looked at that, but then I go check Nariman out and I see, okay, he's an attorney, personal injury trial lawyer. Here's some really fabulous social proof, and then call or text, and here's where I can get more information. So he's using this as a way to move people to the next step. If you look at Ali, he's also leveraging highlights, which a highlight is basically a saved collection of stories. And so he's using this as a way to group these around categories. So you might have something like personal injury, estate law, client testimonials, get my help. And you're just creating a series of stories that if you click through, someone can see what's being shared here. I don't think highlights are the first feature you should implement. Where I'd focus most is on your bio and then on Reels. Okay, let me make sure I'm answering everyone's questions. Do you think starting a new Instagram account just for Reels is a good idea? Do you have an Instagram account already, Joseph? While he's answering that, I'm just going to share. I would use what you already have. I would just start adding Reels to the account because you already have some sort of followership on there, unless you're going in a completely different direction. And I'm going to look at your account right now, but I don't necessarily think you need to. You can just start adding Reels to what you're already doing. Texas. No, so I would absolutely, you already have 1,300 followers. Don't start from scratch. That's going to be an uphill slog compared to what you have already. And look at this. Look at how well you're doing on TikTok. I would link your Instagram to TikTok, which I see you have here, but I would just start posting reels. And if you have, yeah, see, this is great. I think, are these in your feed? Looks like some of them are. So you have the option on Instagram to just post your reels, but not share them to your feed, which means, okay, it's going to get served to new audiences and your existing followers. But if someone comes to then check you out, like I am right now, they won't necessarily see all of those reels unless they're all in here and I'm not seeing them. But I would consider adding more reels in between all this content that you're doing, so that you're capturing more eyeballs top of funnel and then you're serving this content. That would be my recommendation. But I wouldn't create from scratch. And also it is helpful if your handles are the same on all platforms. It just makes it easier for people to look you up and remember. And you are having success on TikTok, but not so much on IG. Yeah, the platforms are very different. So you may have to play around with what's performing well on Instagram versus what's performing well on TikTok. I'd have to look more closely at your accounts. And I think that's actually a great opportunity for you to chat with Cara about specifically the difference between those two accounts and a one-on-one call with her. Nicole, do you have any suggestions on how to plan and schedule these? Okay, so scheduling is different than planning, but if you're looking for a scheduling platform, Cara, does James Amplifier schedule reels?
Yeah, well, we're using Later for scheduling. Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation for you too, if you were not working with James Amplifier. Right now, that's the only platform I know that allows for reel scheduling. For planning, yeah, my best recommendation is to batch. So batch record, batch edit, so you get ahead of content. And then that way, if there's something spontaneous that comes up, or maybe you're doing a little vlog style of The Office because it's happening in the moment, you still have time to post that, but you're not reliant only on that spontaneous content to fill your feed. Nicole is asking, does it include the music? Are you asking about the scheduling platform or James Amplifier?
James Amplifier does. Scheduling.
I can't answer this question because I natively post everything. I'm
actually not sure either, to be honest.
Yeah. You would have to look into that, Nicole. Okay, a couple other questions that I know I'm missing because I got dropped off. There was a question about copyright, I think from Randy. If it's your own original content, there's no copyright concerns. If you are grabbing stock video or, stock images, you just need to make sure you have a license for it. So that's how I would, handle that. Okay. Any other questions? And then I did want to make sure if you want Cara to look at your accounts or you want to talk through James Amplifier, that you make sure you book a call with her. She often has really great strategic suggestions, especially because she's talking to so many attorneys one-on-one that you may not have even considered. Oh, how can you copyright your original content? Your original content, I feel like an attorney should come on and tell you this. Your original content is technically copyrighted. People can still copy you. You just have to let them know they shouldn't be copying you. A lot of the general public doesn't understand copyright rules, especially on social media where it's common to reshare, repost, etc. So, some of this depends on what route you want to take. Some people view shares as great visibility, and some people view it as copyright infringement. So Randy, I don't know that you can stop people copying you, but you can let them know that they've infringed upon your copyright when they've done so, and to ask them to pull it down. There's also an opportunity to report through Facebook and Instagram if you're getting major problems or specifically from someone specific. You can report through their channels and they'll take down the content for you. Okay, Maria, can you talk a little bit more about the difference between Facebook Reels and IG Reels? Yeah. IG Reels are essentially more mature, getting a lot more traction, but Facebook, if you're posting something on IG Reels, I would also post it on Facebook Reels. They're for the most part showing to people on the mobile app, not as much on desktop, unless someone's specifically in that feature, specifically looking through them. But what I've noticed happening on some accounts, not all accounts, is maybe 3 or 4 hours later after the reel is posted on Facebook, it's then showing in someone's news feed or on their profile as a normal video. So I think it's still a great opportunity to get views, but I don't know that you're going to get the same virality or increased views on Facebook that I'm personally seeing on Instagram, but I do know it varies from account to account. But there's no reason not to post what you're posting on Instagram also on Facebook, in my opinion. Do you prefer to have a business account and personal account, or only one account? Ooh, this is such a good question. First of all, there's different types of accounts on Instagram. There's a business account, there's a creator account, and then there's a personal account. You have access to different audios and different ad features based on which type of account you're using. So if you're running any sort of social ads, you're going to need a business or a creator account. The only ad feature that is available to you on a personal account is boosting, which I really don't recommend. So that's one consideration. Are you running ads? Second consideration is, are you using a lot of trending audio, or are you trying to get audio access to audio that a business account isn't going to have? Then I would have a creator account. You still have access to ad features there and can connect it to your Facebook page. I would ask you, Erin, like, how hard is it to manage 2 accounts? Are you able to populate it with enough content for it to be successful? If you aren't, then I would pick one account, but you may consider having a more personal slant. It's easier for people to follow people. And yet I wouldn't talk only about personal stuff if that's the route you're going. It can be challenging to grow 2 accounts at once, but I know Cara has spoken to a lot of attorneys who have both, and maybe you can speak a little bit to what you're seeing there, Cara.
Yeah, no, I pretty much agree, Lauren. Most of the success, I would say all of the attorneys that I'm talking to they're managing one account. Maybe they also have, a firm account, an account that is, tends to be, far less engagement, just tends to be more of kind of a nice branding play. Maybe someone in their office is, running that account, but it's really, in general, they are kind of, forward facing. And even if that doesn't mean that, the account needs to be, to Lauren's point, personal, only sharing your personal, insights, but certainly, people want to connect with people, they don't necessarily, they're not as interested in connecting with organizations. So, but also the time, I mean, like Lauren says, updating 2 accounts, I would definitely agree, sticking with one. And, is it normally business or personal? So typically the attorneys that I'm talking to, technically they're running a business account, but it's branded in a personal way, if that makes sense. So like Ali Awad, for instance, that account is a business profile on Instagram, but it's, at CEO Lawyer, it's branded and framed in a way that, you're following him is the idea.
Yeah, so I can show you guys that one more time just for, so you can see. So from the general public's point of view, this looks like I'm following a person. From a account structure standpoint, it's a business account, so Ali can run ads, is basically how that works. Thanks, Joy. Yes, you can. Thomas, you can convert a personal account to a business account. If you go to basically the top right on your account, and you go to the settings, you should have a tab there that allows you to switch an account back and forth. Just know there's a limited number of times you can do that, I believe. I would look that up before you switch something over, and make sure that if you want to possibly reverse it, that you have the opportunity to. But I would personally go with creator or business instead of a personal account if it were me and I had a law firm. Any other questions we can answer? I know we're about 10 minutes over, but I did want to make sure that we got everyone's questions.
Yeah, lots of good questions. I love it. So everyone's going to go out and shoot their first reel today, right? Right after this, you're going to do it. You're going to post it. We'd love to see them. Send them, share them.
And that's actually what I wanted to show you real quick on Nariman. So we were talking about like the vlog style. You can see most of his videos here are about some sort of legal topic, but here he's having a quick personal vlog style of his honeymoon in 2022. And you can see this is done. Let's go back to Reels. We can see how well it's done. Did I miss it? Here we go. 23,000 views. So he's showing a little bit, a select portion of maybe something personal that he thinks is going to capture people's attention, while the rest of this is mainly focused on his practice specialties and or general legal topics. But don't feel like you can't show some of your personality or you can't show some of what's happening behind the scenes if you choose to. Okay, I think that's it. Cara, anything else from you?
No, I think that's it. I look forward to continuing the conversation with many of you. Thanks for setting the appointments, and join us next Wednesday. We're starting up the one-to-ones again. So thank you, Lauren. Your insight is always spot on, and we're super lucky to learn from you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. And keep an eye out in your email for the recording if you want to rewatch any of this or share. Bye, guys.
Bye.